guest appearance here. It is Momo. He wants to say Kare Butena, welcome back to our channel. As you can tell by today's video, I'm going to be talking about different ways that I stay healthy as a nurse. Some of them are common, but a lot of them are uncommon ways. And you may have seen in the title was that it has been 2 years since I've been sick. I tend to get sick maybe once every couple of years. And these are some of the things that I do to boost my immunity and just stay a happy, healthy individual. So I hope you guys will keep watching, and don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoy videos like this. Subscribe so you can see more, and let's just jump straight into it. So the first thing that I do is I drink a ton of water, and by a ton I usually drink up to 90 to 100 ounces of water per day. If I drink some coffee as well, then I try to drink more water. Sometimes I'll add electrolytes, but for the most part I'm drinking about 90 ounces of water per day. I know most people say 80 ounces, but it does depend on who you are, how hard you're working that day, what you're doing. In my case, I'm on my feet for 12 hours a day in the hospital, so a lot of times I need to drink more water. I will say that I did find like a BMI/water intake calculator on Google, which I'll show you guys in just a moment. But basically you can just input your weight, your height, and then it will kind of calculate how much water you should be drinking for you. And I feel like that's better than just saying a flat 80 ounces because we're all different. Another thing that is common is that I eat healthy and I try to eat right. That means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but basically what I've done, and you don't have to do, but what I have done is I've cut out a lot of dairy, gluten, and refined sugars. I feel like I hear this all the time, but more specifically, I'll show you guys some of the alternatives that I use for dairy products, some of the products that I buy for gluten-free. Now, I don't adhere to this 100%. I don't have an allergy. It's just preference and trying to get my body to feel better, but I notice a difference in the way that I feel when I'm more dairy and gluten-free. But if it is homemade, or I bought it organically, or I'm eating pasta in Europe where it's better for you, then of course I'm gonna indulge a little bit. And obviously I do want to continue to say throughout the entire video that I am not a doctor, I am a nurse, but I can't prescribe anything or give you guys medical advice. So these are all things that I've just done to be healthy that is educational for you guys. So right back into it though, and in terms of eating, I do try to eat a lot of whole foods as well, cut out as much sugar. I've done a video before talking about how the American Heart Association usually says that you should be getting roughly 25 grams of sugar in a day and no more, and the average American consumes 4 times that amount. When I read that, I started to make a lot more diet changes, and I've noticed a big improvement in that, and as well as my skin too. Another thing that I do eating wise is I follow the Glucose Goddess hacks in order to avoid, you know, diabetes, pre-diabetes, which some of my family is prone to, and just to try to stay healthy in general. I want to point you guys in the direction of her brand, her content, her Instagram, so I don't take away from any of that. But basically there's 4 hacks. I do 3 of them. One is walking, or just getting an exercise for 10 minutes after each meal. The other one is eating your foods in the right order, which would be fiber, protein, and then fats/carbs. And then that way you are digesting and reducing the amount of your glucose spike that you have after eating. And then the last one is to mostly eat a savory breakfast. So I used to eat oatmeal every morning. If you guys watch my old vlogs, I'm eating a ton of oatmeal, but it's more starch than it is like good grains for you. So I cut that out, and I actually started to eat 2 eggs and 2 pieces of turkey bacon every single morning. And I will tell you what, my cravings have gone down a lot. I'm not hungry right away, and just having that high protein breakfast in the morning is helpful. The last common health habit that I have is obviously exercise. I do this in a number of ways because even though I really like routine and schedule, I want things that are sustainable long term, and sometimes I just can't go to the gym 3 times a week like some people. So I do try to do a Pilates and a yoga class per week. I have like a membership, so I usually do 2 classes or even 3 classes a week. I go to the YMCA and I have a membership with them, so I usually do the treadmill or I'll do weights, and I try to go with my husband so we can keep each other accountable. But some other non-conventional ways that I've gotten in exercise is by playing pickleball with some church friends. Pickleball is like one of the fastest growing sports in America right now, and I have to say we jumped on the train and we love it. It's cheap, it's easy, it's fun for a date night, it's fun with friends. And then the other thing was I joined a soccer team earlier on in the year. It was beginner, it was just with the community, but it was such a fun way to get in some extra activity and get to know more people. Okay, now getting into some of the unconventional / uncommon ways that I stay healthy as a nurse. First thing that I do is I take certain supplements and teas. Again, not recommending any of these. I've done my own research and read reviews and figured out kind of what I need. I've gone to my doctor as well. But basically I take a prenatal vitamin. There's all sorts of reasons why it's good for you. I'll try to list a couple, but even if you're a female and you're not trying to get pregnant, taking prenatals are really good for you. They're good for your hair, your skin, your nails, and a whole host of other things. Another thing that I take is a probiotic. This one is like a combination of a probiotic. It's got some herbs in it. It's got cranberry in it to help prevent like UTIs as well. And it's just all sorts of good stuff for you as a woman. Help prevent yeast infections, bacterial vaginosis on the daily, twice a day, to keep that at bay. And then I also will take fish oil to help with high cholesterol, which I had been diagnosed with high cholesterol recently when we moved. I had been, in high stress situation. My circadian rhythm was off, but then I also have a family history of being prone to high cholesterol. So I wanted to get that back in balance, but fish oil was a way of doing that, and my cholesterol is lower. Of course, I've done other things for that. And then teas, which I've gotten into more recently. I can thank my husband for this, but I try to drink a different tea based off of what menstrual cycle period I'm in, and there's not a ton of evidence for it, but there is evidence in certain teas helping with certain symptoms or illnesses and things like that. I'll let you do your own research, but basically red raspberry tea is my ultimate favorite. I try to drink that the most throughout the year. There is a lot of evidence behind it helping with menstrual cramps and like inducing labor and just all sorts of good stuff for women. Ginger is really good though for stimulating the circulatory system. Peppermint's really good for digestive issues, and of course you can do more research on that, but I try to drink a bunch of different teas every single night. I've been very religious with it, and I have seen it help in my digestion at least. Another thing that I do that not many people know about, but most do, is allergies. I have my seasonal allergies have gotten better over the past couple of years by doing this, but I try to eat as much local honey as possible, whether it's just a teaspoonful or if I add it to my tea or coffee in the morning. Sometimes I used to add it to my oatmeal. There's a bunch of different ways that you can add just a teaspoon of local honey, but when you're exposed to local honey, because you have local pollen and it changes, then you're helping your immune system get used to the allergies in your area. I used to have really bad itchy ears every year, usually around April and May, and I've not experienced like really itchy ears in a couple years now actually. Another thing I do is to support my lymphatic system. If you guys don't know what that does, it kind of helps your immune system. It kind of carries out toxins and other things that your body collects, and it helps just keep you healthy. But it's good to stimulate your lymphatic system. So there's 2 ways I do this. One is by gua shaing. This is like a tool that I want to say Japanese invented and used and still used to this day. That on my face to help with lymphatic drainage there. It helps open up my sinuses a little bit as well. And then I do body brushing. This is really good for skin cell turnover, but it does also stimulate your lymphatic system throughout your whole body. Another thing that I do is I try to take cold showers in the morning. I'm not religious with this, nor am I good at it. I hate cold plunges, I hate cold showers, but what I can, especially now that summer, a little bit more tolerable, I do try to take a cold shower in the morning. And if I can't do cold showers, sometimes I'll get a bowl of cold water with ice in it and I'll dunk my face in that. It's good for tightening pores, but it is also good for just waking you up. It helps with your circulatory system and kind of gives you that little shock that you need. Another Andrew Huberman trick that you guys have probably heard about that I've also implemented is delaying my coffee intake for 90 minutes when I first wake up. I'm sure he does a much better job of explaining how that is helpful, but basically when you delay it, it's more effective. And then I also keep my caffeine intake to 1 cup of coffee every morning, no more than that. I need just that much to avoid a caffeine headache and to keep going throughout the day, but I also make sure that I don't have any caffeine past like 3 p.m. Another thing that I do is I try to avoid screens and screen time in the evening. This includes like watching TV, being on my phone, being on my laptop, a tablet, all that stuff, or I at least try to wear blue light blocking glasses. There's not a ton of research behind them, but it makes me feel better at least. I'm sure I don't have the right pair, but regardless, I try to wear blue light blocking glasses, but for the most part, I'm trying my best to be off of my screens at 8 p.m. and later. If you have a nurse in your family, you've probably heard the prevention is key, and that is a lot of what I'm doing here is preventing diseases and things from happening. So one other way that I prevent things from happening is by going to my annual checkups. So I get like 2 teeth cleanings per year. I try to make sure that I'm being seen, having them checked out, get my x-rays there, and then I'm also going to my annual appointment with a primary care provider just to make sure that I get annual labs done. I can actually get them done for free now at work, so I try to do that instead to save money. My labs done help me see that my cholesterol was high for the first time, and I was able to modify that. My women's health appointment per year, you know, we all need a pap smear every couple years. If you're older, maybe it's time to look into colonoscopies and maybe going to a dermatologist, get that spot checked out that you need to get a mammogram done, all those good things. It doesn't hurt to get it checked out annually just to make sure that things are caught early, because otherwise you'll be paying the price for them down the road. Another key for prevention is wearing sunscreen. I try to wear sunscreen at least on my face every day. There is more growing evidence that if you avoid certain foods in your diet, like seed oils and things like that, it will help you keep from getting a sunburn. However, I know that my family is prone to sunburn, melanoma, and things like that, so I do still wear sunscreen as much as possible, or a hat when I'm going out, especially on my face. Some of that's cosmetic related. I don't, want to age gracefully as much as possible, prevent wrinkles, but I do want to avoid skin cancer. However, at the same time, I do try to get as much vitamin D as possible, a couple hours a day. It is good to have sun exposure, and it's just all about finding the right balance. I feel like a lot of the community, health community, medical community out there is like, you should do this, no, you should do this, but there's no, hey, you need to have a moderate amount of both and just be careful. So again, that's not medical advice. It's just my little hot take on things. Another thing that I've been trying to do, which I've been putting on my Instagram, so if you want to follow along there, I have a little highlights for it, is changing out my products. So a couple examples are, I have switched out Teflon pans for stainless steel and cast iron. I inherited some cast iron, which makes me super excited. But then I also was able to thrift some stainless steel pots and pans, which were really cheap, easy. And then also beauty products, making sure that I'm reading the labels, we're not having parabens and things like that. No, fewer fragrance, because that can mess with your endocrine system and your hormones. So just being careful with that. Cleaning products, making sure we're not using bleach around the house. We're using more baking soda and vinegar, especially to kill mold in places. And then making sure my makeup doesn't have like talc in it. My hairspray and things like that don't have any nasty products in them. And yeah, so I've been trying my best to reduce the amount of exposure to like toxic things in our environment. We use air purifiers in the house. I obviously have some natural air purifiers around me in the form of plants. All right, last but not least that I do, and I'm so sorry, my poor fig tree, I keep bopping him. So the last thing that I do is I try to wear compression socks and really good tennis shoes. Technically, you should be getting a new pair of tennis shoes every 6 months to a year. Girl, don't got time for that or the money. So I buy new pairs of tennis shoes as often as I can. I just got the first one that I bought like in 3 years, I think. But basically do your research. Like, I have zero arch, so I bought some insoles and like arch support and stuff like that. But plantar fasciitis is a real thing, so are varicose veins. So wearing compression socks, but then also having a good pair of shoes because I'm on my feet for 12 hours is just really helpful in a way that I prevent lower back pain, stress and tension away, and I keep the varicose veins away. So I hope you guys found this video helpful, educational, enjoyed it, and yeah, I enjoy being a health nut, and honestly making this video has helped me realize all the things that I've implemented over the past like 2-3 years, and honestly makes me really happy that I've kept up with so much, because there's some days that I'm really hard on myself. I'm like, I could be doing better, but looking back and seeing that all these things are things that I've implemented, I'm not doing a bad job. So I hope you guys will look into at least prevention and staying healthy, talking to your doctor or dentist, whoever you need to, being accountable with friends, getting that exercise, and maybe trying some of these things out. Again, I am not advising that you do any of them, but if you have any of these particular health habits yourself, comment down below and let me know what you found most helpful or most interesting. So thank you guys for sticking around. I will see you later. Tutu Anana.